Wow, so you guys think Craig Wright is Satoshi?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
He wrote the white paper.
Good day. This is Roger Choudhury, signing in for the Klips Podcast. And we're here speaking with some of our esteemed guests. Some of you guys know me. I'm from BFN, Business Financial Network, and I love to introduce Jerry Chen here.
Hi.
And tell us a bit about yourself and what you're into.
Yeah, I'm Jerry David Chan, kind of a longtime Bitcoiner. Right now, I'm a founder of Frobots.io, which is a competitive gaming platform looking to help kids learn programming. Not just kids, anybody programming.
Awesome. Thanks all for being here.
Thank you.
And John, tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm the Bitcoin apostle. I'm a media influencer on BSV. I promote BSV. I've been promoting it since the beginning. I love the technology. And basically I speak just letting people know about the technology and how it works of Bitcoin.
Thanks all for being here. And your esteemed partner.
I am One Love, One Heart. I'm an artist and I do Bitcoin-related arts.
Awesome.
I'm interested in BSV and I'm trying to work on projects that integrate that into my art.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a lot of interesting controversy that's been happening in the blockchain and crypto sector. You know, the likes of SBF. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of skepticism about this programmable currency. And we're keeping it, as you can see, everyone's having a drink. I'm having a bit of a smoke here. We're keeping it uncensored and uncut because we want people to be transparent and be themselves here. So, you know, more importantly, what made you guys get into Bitcoin?
Well, we'll go with Jerry first because,
Yeah.
you know, I know a lot about Bitcoin, but I could say that Jerry is an OG from 2012. So he's gonna
Take it
have to
over.
start.
Take
He's
it
gonna
over,
have to
Jerry.
take
Take
it
it
out.
over.
Yeah,
He's
so
gonna have to
tell
take
us a
it
bit.
over.
What makes you an OG, by the way? What's a bit of your background?
Well, I come from technology, so I've worked at banks for about 14 years,
Which banks?
mostly Goldman Sachs,
Okay.
JP Morgan for a bit.
Okay.
Always on the technology side, so I mean, I guess I had a financial sort of leaning.
Okay.
And so I got heard about Bitcoin just because it was some new programmable internet money,
Yeah.
which actually made it to mainstream. I mean, mainstream enough that people in banks heard about it, because apparently I found out later there was a lot of other attempts at digital money before.
Agreed.
So I heard about it. I got a little bit interested at first, but I was pretty skeptical. But then I think when I read the white paper myself,
Okay.
I think it was immediately apparent to me that the person who wrote it was more than just a geeky guy, was more than just a cryptographer
Okay.
or a mathematician or something. It was somebody who understood finance and economics,
Okay.
specifically economics. So that kind of like really, struck a chord with me, because it was like, wait a second, 'cause, working in a bank, in a Wall Street bank for over 10 years, you can sort of cut through a lot of the cruft, right? You can like, okay, I see where the angle is. I couldn't really see the angle of Bitcoin when I read through. I was like, wait, there's no catch. There's no like, okay, this is the grift, this is the thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait a second, this is kind of interesting. It seems that maybe it's a system that could bootstrap itself, and so that was kind of like how I got interested in it first.
Awesome.
And to answer your question, I think anybody's an OG if you got into Bitcoin before 2013, probably before it hit $1,000. If you got into Bitcoin or was doing something in Bitcoin, trading Bitcoin, whatever, before it hit $1,000, then I would consider that you an OG. So,
Awesome. Okay, thanks all for the answer. Johnny.
The apostle wishes he was an OG. He wishes he was. With me, I got into it looking at it as making money, which was the wrong way of looking at things. I started buying these graphic miners, and I was mining Bitcoin, and I was getting into that.
Yeah.
And then I realized that what runs Bitcoin is miners that tell the truth.
Okay.
So the only thing that I came up with was to follow a blockchain that Satoshi wrote in 2009, and it describes how miners play the rules of the game.
Okay.
Now, if miners do not play the rules of the game, it's stuff like Ethereum or other blockchains.
Agreed.
That's what I think.
Okay.
And it cannot scale in certain aspects of building applications. You could put it in your business. You could use it in so many different ways.
It's
of
programmable.
telling
Yeah.
the truth.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin, when it first started, it started with 50 coins. Okay. The rewards was 50. It would cut in half every 4 years.
Okay.
Okay. So Satoshi designed it like this. So at the end, when there's no rewards left,
Yeah.
the miners need to get paid by transactions.
Okay.
Okay. So if Bitcoin is not used by miners making money off transactions, that's the only way Bitcoin's going to survive down the road.
Okay.
And the only blockchain that makes transactions is the one that follows the 2009 white paper, which is BSV. And now I'm into BSV, and I just want to pump BSV for a lot of different reasons.
So you're a BSV maxi.
I'm a BSVer for life.
Okay.
I'm a Craig Wright fan too.
You're a
And
Craig
he
Wright.
actually knows Craig. He's met Craig Wright, and he thinks.
And so
and
you.
I think Craig Wright is Satoshi, and he also said it with his own mouth that he had people helping him.
Wonderful.
All right? And
Wonderful.
that's, you know,
Wow. So you guys think Craig Wright is Satoshi?
Yeah.
Yeah?
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
He wrote the white paper.
He wrote the white paper.
And this is my wife,
Yes.
my love. I put her in the game. And, you know, Bitcoin Apostle.
Listen, Bitcoin's not just for people that have a technology background or already understand it or had some sort of background in it. It doesn't seem like it's accessible for everybody. But if I could get into it and I just have an artistic background, anybody can. Right?
Okay.
And if I can see the benefit of it, even for my line of work and what I do,
Agreed.
literally there's applications for anybody out there. So that's why it's important, I think.
Okay. And what exactly can Bitcoin do for companies?
That's a good question.
Bitcoin could do everything for a company. It could, you know, it's programmable money. So if a company has 500 expenses, once he's selling one product, it could pay out all the expenses in one swipe. You don't need an accountant anymore. You're going to need a blockchain accountant
Agreed.
because things are going to be on chain, which would be easier for everybody to get their money. That's just one little aspect.
Jerry, how about you? What do you think? What can Bitcoin do for companies?
Basically, it could open up entire markets where people were forced to overlook them in the past. For instance, simply because of microtransactions, right?
Agreed.
When the internet started, like there was actually an attempt or the belief that there would be a way for people to pay for things digitally. That's why even in sorry to get geeky, but like HTTP error codes, there's an error code that's never used these days, which is payment required. You know when you go to a website and it's like there's no page there, you get 404.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's like a 205 or 402 or something like that. That it basically is a payment required error, which is like you didn't pay, so I can't send you the website. So the designers like Berners-Lee. Oh, anyway, I'm massacring his name because of our enjoyment of drink and smoke here. Lee Berners, whatever, the guy who invented the internet.
There we go.
He did plan out the fact that, like, in the future, not now, we can't do this now because Visa and MasterCard don't work online and there's security issues and all. but he knew that at some point in the future you'd be able to pay for data, right, on a peer-to-peer basis. Now that's the key. Like we
Wow.
pay for data today by paying Verizon, by
Yeah.
paying Rogers, whatever. That's different. You're paying a
A
company
centralized,
to
yes.
give you access to their access to the internet. But the internet was meant for people to pay peer-to-peer, and that's what Bitcoin opens up. Like now with Bitcoin and with specifically BSV, because it's almost free to transact on a per transaction basis.
Wow.
And you can transact something as small as like a fraction of a cent, like thousandths of a cent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then think about what you can monetize, right? You can monetize routers, internet routing. You can monetize, I mean, not just paywall, but I mean, imagine pay per line read as opposed to pay for article read. What if I read like a couple lines of the review and the review sucks? I'm going to stop reading. Then I only pay for the number of lines that have been loaded onto my screen, right?
Wow.
If you could do that, then there's
Incredible.
incredible, whole different markets you can do.
Incredible. That's unbelievable. And right now, considering all the issues around crypto, back in the day, if you even look at 5 years ago on CNBC, there was no Bitcoin ticker, there was no Ethereum ticker. All of a sudden, the likes of Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, BlackRock, all these big boys, institutional, funds get into the game, and now it's established. How do we market Bitcoin after all of the SBFs, and how do we get over that fear and skepticism? Because everyone talks about their projects and their and I guarantee you, I'm sure all you guys have unbelievable projects that have a tremendous opportunity for people to be involved. How do we market these projects now? What's the next step here?
Well, that's a good question. I think for people, I mean, I'm kind of a good example of how you get people to understand the technology, right? So if you can take people that even don't have a background in finance or anything that you're saying,
Yeah.
and you can get them past the fear and all of the speculation and all of the scams that are out there, we just got to talk on a base level about what the technology is, what it should be doing, and what problems it can solve for us, right? So I'm using it because it solves problems for me that even in the art world, there's actually a lot of different artists that are using BSV that are interested in authenticity of art and how that they can inscribe their art on the blockchain and do all these types of things that weren't even possible. Physical art's going away to some extent. There's some digital art coming in. There's a lot of different things that I'm interested in, and if you apply that to companies or finance or anything like that, you just have to ask what problem does Bitcoin solve that these other things cannot solve, right? So that's the major question, I think.
I think bringing people into Bitcoin, it's a little bit fucked up to say, but I think things
go.
that are
Say
addictive,
it.
things that are addictive,
Yeah.
that will bring people into Bitcoin.
Dopamine, baby.
Like parties, like how I said, concerts. You
Yeah.
use an NFT,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you pay for the NFT,
Yeah.
the customer pays, money gets distributed, the DJ owns 20% of the
Boom.
party. Boom, he gets paid once the guy buys the NFT. The
That's it.
customer's done quick. That's
No
an addictive-
promoters, none of this, none of
nothing.
that.
They don't even know they're using BSV.
Exactly.
That's
It just
one
happens.
way. Like
That's a
through
great idea.
Through music.
That's a great idea.
Gambling. Gambling is a great way
Online casinos
because
huge.
you could even correct me if I'm wrong, but back in the day when Satoshi invented Bitcoin, there was a poker game that was played on Bitcoin when there was no transaction fees.
Wow.
Now games got ruined once the developers of BTC Core changed the protocol of Bitcoin in 2015-16 and destroyed all the new apps that were getting built
Wow.
on this technology that Satoshi left for us to use. Okay? They didn't want to fill up the block size. These games were coming out and they were filling up the block size. You know more about it, Jerry. Like, what was it that? Why didn't they want the block size? Why did they put a cap on the block? When Satoshi said that there shouldn't be a cap on the block. It should be unlimited transactions. BTC could only make 1 million transactions in 24 hours, max. It can never scale. It's broken. That's when they broke it. And the transaction fees, the more you use BTC, the transaction fees go up.
Increase, yeah.
Okay? With BSV and how Satoshi wrote it, you can make deals with mining farms that will mine your transactions at a lower fee.
Wow.
You understand? We charge, I don't know how much, less than 1,000th of a cent per transaction.
Wow.
And that's what
That's
what destroyed Bitcoin.
That's what BSV charges.
Yes.
Less than 1,000th of a cent.
Yeah,
Depending on what it is.
Less.
Depending on what it is.
Less.
Yeah, I think 100.
It's made for microtransactions, right?
Yeah,
That's what it's made for.
Satoshis per
Something like
byte.
that.
It's hard to. It depends on how big the transaction is.
Agreed,
Yes.
agreed.
But let's say you send like a honkin' 1 megabyte transaction, it's probably still going to be like less than a penny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. So let's talk a bit about some of your projects that you guys got going on here. So there's some really exciting projects that you guys are involved in. Tell us a bit about Frobots.
Frobots. Okay, yeah. So Frobots was my shit or get off the pot moment. So
Okay.
I've been in this business for a while, doing various sort of stuff, right? Promotion and stuff, and a little bit of technology, a little bit of exchange. But then I said, like, look, if I'm really gonna dive in and start to build something that actually uses blockchain, right, for all the reasons you would want to use blockchain, and do something for a cause which is worthy, that's how I came to Frobots, which is basically Frobots is. I started with distributed computing. I wanted to do something which was like, hey, what if we can use blockchain to sort of coordinate a bunch of computers,
Yeah.
everywhere on the edge, to sort of like cooperatively run computations together. You know,
Okay.
kind of like what you'd use for the cloud, but in a way which is obviously doesn't involve a cloud company. That was basically, I wrote a prototype and I thought, okay, we could do this, but where's the business angle here? I'm not really setting out to make a startup company to challenge AWS. So
Okay.
Frobots was like, okay, taking that concept and then making some practical thing that people might want to use or play in this case. So Frobots is a game where you write your own little program. Everybody writes their own little program, which is its own NFT, and then you fight them in an arena. You know, kind of like chicken fights, or
Wow.
you know, and you can basically see who's the best robot, best strategy, best program, and you have a leaderboard, and our idea is to run tournaments where you just get all these people competing, making their own Frobots, making them better, improving on them,
Uh-huh.
getting more merch and getting more vanity items, getting more upgrades and all this kind of stuff. And eventually, my hope is that not only will it show people, I mean, for the geeks out there, that you could do something which is distributed computation on the blockchain, but also introduce this other thing which blockchain enables, which is this whole Web3 thing, which is allow people to make assets from one game and then just take them out, sell them,
Wow.
or use them in another game.
Wow.
So what if you're using a Frobot here? One, you could sell it and give it to somebody else, and maybe you retire as your tenure as a Frobot trainer. But you can also maybe say it in another game, a spaceship game, right? You have this sort of skin that's the Leafs, right? You have the Leafs paint job for your spaceship. What if I could just port that paint job over to Frobots and slap it on your mech, right? Into your items and Frobots.
That's crazy.
That means that you have to own this paint job somewhere. And that's
Yeah.
why the Web3 comes in, right? Because all of these digital assets need to be NFTs. And where these NFTs live, they have to live on the blockchain or some sort of asset layer
Agreed.
so that all these games can sort of exchange items. So that's kind of the dream.
That's
And
that.
yeah.
So that's that whole Axie Infinity kind of world, kind of right. And that's what I think. How are you going to differ? Because obviously that whole Axie Infinity thing, after that hack happened, the whole thing imploded.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you differentiate
Right.
your what are you bringing to market that will differentiate what Frobots is compared to what exists out there already in the PTE type of realm?
Well, first and foremost, I think getting the tokenomics right. So Frobots, it's like the collection or the acquisition of assets is not the primary thing of the game. So the primary point of the game is like building a Frobot that can win, right? So the idea of getting something valuable just because it's like scarce,
Yeah.
right? Which is the whole Axie Infinity. all
That's
the
what
other-
it is. Yeah.
that's the problem, right? You don't want to make something scarce and that's why it's valuable. My idea is like your Frobot is only valuable because it has a record of wins and losses throughout time
Okay.
in history.
Okay.
You can't
Performa.
falsify this
Performa.
record. Yeah.
Performa.
yeah.
Okay.
So look, it may be worth nothing or it may be worth a lot. I mean, for one example, like if I make a Frobot that's really like wins a lot, then it's clearly worth something because whoever buys it will expect that they can play it immediately and beat most other Frobots, right? So there's value there. The other thing about value is that if everybody who owns or has touched or has improved that Frobot in the past is recording, well, then what if, say, someone like famous, like an Elon Musk or someone at some point touched or changed hands or
Wow.
did something with that?
Agreed.
Then no matter how crappy that Frobot may perform,
He touched it.
he touched it, then it's worth something as
That's
well.
right, that's right, that's
and
right.
that's the only way
Awesome, buddy.
something gets value in Frobots, right? There's
Cool.
no scarcity aspect.
And what are you excited? You know, like this is a pretty exciting project. I like what I'm hearing already. What future aspects of blockchain excites you? Obviously, you're doing this for a reason.
Yeah. Well, I think the long-term aspects of blockchain is what we've all seen in like movies like Ready Player One, right? The metaverse, the Oasis.
Oasis, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we're ever gonna get there, like Frobots and other projects like ours is the first stepping stone, right? We need to start getting people to change their mind about like when you buy a game, what are you buying now these days? Most of the time it's a
Totally.
subscription.
That's
right?
what you're
Access,
buying. You're right. Access, yeah.
But what we need,
DLC after DLC.
Right, exactly.
Retarded.
but now we want to change people's mind as in like when you buy a game, you're buying access, but you're also buying assets, not just
Yes.
access,
That's
but
crazy.
assets,
Assets.
right? But for digital assets to have portability outside of the game, you need blockchain.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
But you
Thanks a
need
lot,
it-
Jerry. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
You
you,
don't
need it
wo-
for everything.
No,
need
you
it
don't.
For social media. I'm just saying that it could make so many more things better, right? Because we're talking about dopamine and games and things that people are interested in.
Yeah.
And if you brought blockchain to those things and allowed people to, like make transactions on their own social media posts or, do the tokenized games or do some sort of gambling on chain, it brings a whole different level. Like Jerry's saying, changing people's mindsets about the world and the matrix that we live in
Yeah.
and what the possibilities are, right? So you get out of that box thinking
Agreed.
and you look at the big picture.
Yeah, this centralized thinking
Yeah,
that we're all pigeonholed
Yeah.
into believing.
100%.
There's some other projects that I think use this technology that I think our audience would be interested in.
Yeah. Well, I was
I think it's called LittleBits.
littleb.it. It just came out on
Okay.
BSV. It launched about 2 weeks ago,
All right.
and it's getting some crazy attention. They did a show with Daniel
Kravitz?
Kravitz, is the emperor of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
The Emperor.
He-
Self-proclaimed. Okay.
He's an OG.
He's an OG.
He's a real deal OG.
Okay.
And he heard about this casino game that came out, littleb.it, where you could bet on games, sports, using the blockchain.
Okay.
And you could also bet on games fractions of a cent.
And so because it's on BSV,
Because
you can bet fractions of a cent.
fractions of a cent.
Wow.
And it's also because it's programmable money.
And you guys have odds on fractions of a cent? You have odds, obviously. You
Right,
have
we
odds.
have odds that call the same odds as all the big
As regular
sports
sports
books out
games.
there.
No way.
Yes.
And you bet right with BSV. Once the game finishes, the blockchain pays the wallet that made the bet on the game
Automatically.
So there's no withdrawal button.
Wow.
Okay, you're
You're
betting.
not locked into a site. You're not blocked by taking your money out. There's no other control over your assets that you win or bet.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and
So
it
it
also
gives people a degree of control that they don't have if they go to a traditional casino site.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Right?
Beautiful.
And that,
Beautiful.
like we know, Bitcoin's programmable money, so it has leaderboards where a percentage of the casino will pay out a leaderboard of someone's best ROI, return on investment.
Agreed.
So it's the way they manage their money could get them on a
reward.
jackpot
Wow.
where they could make they could show that their best ROI was with a fraction of a cent
Wow.
to turn it into a penny to win a $500 jackpot.
Okay.
So I'm risking a penny, and hopefully I make a 20-team parlay and hit 10 cents. I have a better ROI than somebody betting $1,000 and winning 1,000. I get on the leaderboard because it's the ROI, return on investment.
Agreed.
And to have something like that in a game that pays people percentage and directly in your wallet every time the jackpot would go off.
That's a
either
differentiator.
24 hours,
Yeah.
That's unique.
1 week, and 1 month. There would be
That's
different
unique.
ones.
That's unique.
It's-
But
there's
even other
even-
games like the Plinko, I mean, you're using blockchain, so you're taking away the casino's ability to manipulate the odds themselves, because we know the house always wins, right?
Yeah.
So provably fair gambling is a
Agreed.
total game changer compared to
Agreed.
the way traditional casinos
that.
approach that, right?
Usually get Plinko games, they have an algorithm of a 30, 70, or 10% to the player, 90 to the house. With this, the Plinko ball, when you make a transaction, the hash tells which way the ball to move down, so you could provably look at the result of your ball, how it was made, and it was made through the blockchain.
Like the gambler can verify
You can verify your bet.
exactly that it was completely provably fair and it was not manipulated.
Yeah, I think the key there is that the hash, which for listeners
Yes.
who may not be aware, is provably random. I guess
Yes.
that's the easiest way to put it.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you couldn't have just pre-calculated that, because it took how many gigawatts of power of Bitcoin
Exactly.
to of all the miners to generate this one block hash.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So
Voyager.
yeah, so
Yeah.
basically it's like, it's not they could just come up with this number that so happens to make the ball this way, so happens to make you lose, kind of thing. Because
Wow.
the network did that, and the network throws how much money behind every block in
Totally.
electricity.
And the miners are there to verify the transactions and tell the
Exactly.
truth. Bitcoin,
Wow.
It's
Bitcoin,
leveling the playing field, man. You know what I mean? It's I mean, it's making degeneracy more equal and fair, I guess, if you want
It's
to put
the
it that way.
fairest-
But it's like, no, but you know, but we want to see it in a
It's
good
the
way. We wanna
degeneracy.
see it in a
It's
good
the
way.
You got some of
fairest-
those guys up in the house.
wanna
it
make
is the
degeneracy
fairest casino in
better.
the world.
Can I put a pause? I'll let me
Let's
put
put a
another.
positive
I'll
spin
put
on
I'll put
that.
another view. I mean, yeah, I don't disagree, but I like to think of it as we like to accentuate the competition,
Yes.
the positive aspect of competition when
Agreed.
directed in the right direction
Yes.
toward positive goal. Competition is great for
True
everybody.
deregulation. I
Right.
concur.
Yes.
Like leaderboards, like seeing how you are versus everybody else. I know, socialists will hate this kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, when you have like visible competition, everybody does better. right?
Agreed.
Yes.
All right.
You
And
gotta
then-
up your game.
You up your game. You got to up your game. So in my case, we want to make competitive coding, but at the same time, everybody's learning how to program. Wonderful. Good for skills. In
Yeah.
this case, making more clear and making the ability to show your worth, even that you don't have to commit so much money, right? You don't have to have the big wallet in order to win all the time. You can have a
That's
small wallet,
huge.
That's
right?
That's
And
huge.
Bitcoin is about telling the truth about every business in the world. That's why people use Bitcoin, is to tell the truth of what happened. No,
Exactly,
Jerry?
but to
Yeah,
Jerry's
it's-
point,
it's-
it's about, he's right. The best, there should be a leaderboard about what performs the best, and
I
what,
could
and this,
prove
this
I
is
could
what we
pick
should
the
be
best
adopting,
games.
Yeah.
right?
With with 1 penny, you can make 1,000 bets.
Wow.
I mean, if you stack
Unbelievable.
up this, if you stack up what we're saying versus the competition, like there's a clear winner when it comes to what chain, what coin or whatever can deliver on all of these things that we're talking
Transparency
about.
is key, guys, and that's why
Yes.
we're having this uncut, uncensored session, and that's what's important to me.
I'm going to tell you one thing about Bitcoin, where this is how people are going to come into Bitcoin, is through referrals. Okay? We're going to take example, LittleBit. They have a referral system,
Okay.
right? A YouTuber could get this link,
Uh-huh.
post it,
Uh-huh.
and whoever signs up to the link, whatever he waged in LittleBit, he gets 1 to 3% paid in his wallet, win or lose. So it's going to
Wow.
incentivize
Wow.
YouTubers, sports guys, maybe even little YouTubers that want to start out.
Yeah.
They want to make money. This is a perfect way for them to make money. Streamers pumping out this referral system. They go on LittleBit, they punch it in, it automatically knows. You could go on the affiliates on LittleBit, you punch in you see your users, and you see them, what they waged, and your commission, and it's instantly paid in your wallet. Once you sign up with the account, you also get a Bitcoin wallet too.
Beautiful.
With your own passwords and everything.
Beautiful. Gorgeous.
It is like
That's unbelievable.
I think referral systems for people to make money.
big.
That's what will bring people into
Definitely
Bitcoin.
in a time when
They
we're at
don't
the
care. Oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
gonna make Bitcoin for free just to send out my referral link.
Listen,
Who knows? They're gonna get a degenerate that might smash with $1,000.
Yeah.
Or even $100. A bettor could do volume up to $5,000.
Wow.
If they win. You know, if they have $200, the volume of bets could go up to $2,000. So that's $2,000, 3% of $2,000 paid into your wallet for life.
there it is.
Forever.
There it is.
That's money shots. That's what people even you know, you could integrate it on BSV and you bet. You could bet on it.
Yeah.
You know, who would win?
No, listen, in a time where we're at the highest 22-year inflation, wage disparity is at its highest.
Yeah.
If you can go and send a referral link and have a potential of making money off of someone else's habit, I think this is the best time. And I think a lot of the viewers out there, I think, have a lot of apprehension because of what has occurred. But meeting people, hearing people, what they have to say, and the way that they're using these solutions will make a difference in the long run.
Yeah.
So
the bottom line is to even try this, for them to like see what it's all about, they don't have to go and gamble or worry about speculating on an asset or lose a whole bunch of money.
yeah,
Like, right? It's we're talking about fractions of a cent of transactions, and in order for people to just try it out, like what do they have to lose? Just like you're saying, in an atmosphere of like this type of inflation, people still want to play their games. People still want
They
to do
still
their
wanna
things.
do
They still
their
want to do their thing,
yeah.
right? So I mean, what better way to try it out and to see what possibilities are out there? I mean, to me, it's kind of like a no-brainer.
Agreed.
If I want to verify
tell you
something that's
something.
a scam, right? Like if I want to verify something as a scam, I'm going to try it out first. I'm going to see
Yeah.
what it's all about
For sure.
before I have anything to say about it.
Agreed.
What are you going to say?
Well, BSV is, you know, we're put to the ground because we could do everything better. Everybody's scared of BSV. The big boys, MicroStrategy, Facebook, Twitter guys, they are afraid of Craig Wright. Look it up. January 24th next year, it's called the Copa case. The biggest people in the world are going after BSV. Why? Because we have the technology and the patents that could hold micropayments on chain that could use IPv6. Okay, IPv6 and micropayments is the key to the internet of exchanging money. And the only way you could do it is if you use BSV. Am I correct, Jerry? Under IPv6, we could talk about that too, because that's another serious thing that BSV could just blow up with. And to store data on chain. IPv6, if you want to go on a little bit about that, we could do that.
You know
too.
what? Let's talk a little bit
That's
about
good.
IP. So I believe we were talking a bit about this before. So I think the internet currently is operating on IPv4
Mostly.
mostly.
It's about still, I think, 70% IPv4.
So what is IPv in general? What's IPv?
IP is Internet Protocol, as in TCP/IP.
Okay.
IPv4 means version 4,
Version 4.
which is your common, number. Right? Like
Cool.
255, 192, 168.7.1, something like that.
Your
Four numbers.
Quote unquote IP address.
That's IP address. Yeah.
Awesome.
IPv6, it's much longer than that, and it has alphabets, right? So most people don't really say their IPv6 address. But guaranteed, if you have a cell phone, it's using an IPv6 address right now because the internet ran out of addresses back in 2012. So everybody just sort of borrows some teleco's public one Uber address, and then that telco just sort of forwards stuff through their own network and perhaps through IPv6 to your mobile phone.
Yeah.
Now, the benefit that we can see with what Joe just mentioned, microtransaction plus IPv6, is imagine you have, you've heard of Raspberry Pis, these little devices.
Yes.
You know, Mr.
That they
Robot.
can hack. They
Yeah.
can hack things.
Yeah.
They run BTC.
Yeah, but they're also just really useful small little computers. Now, there are probably millions of these things out there, but if every one of these computers could run like, I don't know, like a weather sensor,
Yeah.
right? Maybe it's checking groundwater, maybe it's checking the temperature or something.
Yeah.
So you imagine all these little devices now are spread around the world, but if they had their own IPv6 address as opposed to sharing one thing, then they could all talk to each other. And not only that, what if they could all sort of pay each other money, micro amounts of money? So maybe one sensor, like for instance, if you install a temperature sensor here in this backyard, it's not going to be very valuable because probably everybody around here knows what the temperature is right here, right? Just by checking the news. But what if somebody installed a Raspberry Pi and put it into Antarctica? You can imagine then the value of those temperatures readings are a little bit more valuable than one if I installed here.
Agreed.
But right now, if I just went to Antarctica and literally just jumped off the boat and stuck a stake in the ground and put my little box there with a solar panel and like, okay, now it's set up, I'm just going to leave this here. I can't make money from that. But maybe you could with IPv6 and microtransactions, right? Anybody who just wants to stick a stake, like, let's assume you're doing it on public property, okay? Don't stick a stake into somebody else's backyard. But if you find some sort of public property in the North Pole, whatever, South Pole, some middle of the Amazon jungle, you stick a stake, you put a little box, you have solar panels, internet connection through Satlink, whatever. Now that thing can make money because guess what? If it starts pumping data onto the internet, maybe it pumps one data every minute.
Yeah.
But then it says, if anybody wants to pay me directly with Bitcoins, right? Some, 10 cents. I'll give you a data point for every time I collect it. This little thing could just be its own little business.
Wow.
Right. So that kind of thing we can start thinking about with IPv6, microtransactions, and BSV.
Unbelievable. Wow. You guys gave us a lot to think about today on the Clip King podcast. And exactly. So this is the first time that we've had a podcast like this. So I thank you all for being here. And more importantly, we want to see you guys here again to talk about the updates, the excitement, and the growth with some of your projects, okay?
Great, yeah.
100%.
So thanks all
nice
for having
being
me.
here, man.
Do it.
Thanks for
No
having me.
worries.
Cheers.
Peace.
That's us signing out.